Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for joining this webinar. We're very happy to have you here, and we hope you're enjoying the webinar series, Build Your Future in Tech, brought to you by Latinas in Tech Mexico City chapter. We thank you if you have attended any of the webinars, and if you have not done it yet, you can still register. We have more events coming until August 20th, so register on our website. Today, we'll hear from Cher Santos, an experienced recruiter in the world of tech, who will present to us with tips, do's and don'ts on recruiting processes, and will be answering your questions at the end. If you want to ask something, please write your question by clicking the Q&A icon in the right lower part of your screen. And Cher will finish her presentation, and then we'll be having a few minutes on Q&A answers at the very end. Let me tell you a bit about Latinas in Tech. Okay, so here's information about Build Your Future. You can find it and register on our website. So we are a nonprofit organization with the aim to connect, support, and empower Latina women working in tech. We work hand in hand with top technology companies to create safe spaces for learning, mentorship, and recruitment. So here's the board of directors of the Mexico City chapter: Mariela and Lorenzo from Google, Andrea from Bitso, Daniela from Swap, Anna from Amazon, and myself. So we started 2.5 years ago in Mexico City. And we'll have 12 meetups. Webinars, we've had more with the situation, 1,500 participants, 400 plus trained women from I Am Remarkable by Latinas in Tech, 600 plus Facebook group members, and 20 plus partnership with companies, universities, and Mexico's women groups. So you can become a Latina visit our website, and here's information, and I'll leave it at the end. Now let me share so we can start our webinar. Cher Santos is a talent acquisition professional with 9+ years of experience focused on tech recruiting and diversity and inclusion. In the past 5 years, she's been working for big tech companies, including SAP, Nubank, and Uber, building teams for different kinds of businesses. She's passionate about diversity. She's been working closely with employee networks and local communities to build a more diverse workplace, focusing mainly on people with disabilities, hiring, and gender equality. Cher helped to create 2 different projects to increase gender diversity inside the tech industry, willing not only to hire more female talent, but also to help female students to get to know and pursue a career in STEM, S-T-E-M. So thank you so much for being with us, Cher, and let's start. I'll give you the microphone.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for the introduction. Nice meeting you all. Thanks for the invitation. I will first share my screen, just a minute, so I can share my presentation with you. Let me just here. Can you see it? Can someone let me know if you can see it?
Yes, we can see it. Yes, thanks.
Awesome, thank you. So again, first of all, thanks for the invitation. It's a huge pleasure for me to be here to share a little bit more about my experience, and I hope I can give you some valuable tips for your next selection process and help you on your journey as a candidate. The main goal of this conversation is to share some do's and don'ts for every stage of the process, since before applying until receiving an offer. So I'll try to give some very practical examples on this. But first, let me continue this introduction, let you get to know me better. Nancy already shared with you a little bit more about myself, but just to clarify more. So my name is Sherilyn actually, but you can call me Cher. I prefer like this. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology. Also, I study MBA in business management. And I put in here some pictures that really represent my mom and what I'm proud of. So the last one here is the University of Laverne, and is one international certificate that I got for project management that I'm very proud of. It happened last year. I also like to introduce myself as a fearless recruiter. And being honest, I learned to introduce myself like this recently, since I've been feeling more confident about my role and about I'm able to deliver. And working inside the tech industry could be very challenging for a female talent, for a female employee. Usually you are the only female person in the room, or you are the only female person in the brief conversation to make a hiring decision, for instance, or even to sell a pitch for a project or something like this to a male business leader or something like this. So I learned through these years to develop these skills and to feel more confident during this environment. So I do feel like right now I can call myself like this, and I do feel more confident in this journey inside the tech industry. I also, as Nancy shared before, I have been working with diversity for a while, and I also like to call myself a diversity advocate. I work very close to diversity resource groups for women and also people with disabilities. I got engaged with different projects for women in tech, and one of them got me to the Grace Hopper celebration, and there is another picture that shares a little bit more about this. It's a very nice event that celebrates women in tech, and I'm very proud to be part of this in the past. So this is my passion. Every time that I make a decision to go to a company, I need to know that they value diversity as well. I'm passionate about technology. This is something that I love. I love to work with tech people. Every time that I talk to someone in the tech industry, I learn something new. So this is for sure a passion, even though I'm not a technical person. I'm also like a lot to travel. I am a solo traveler, and this is part of my the way I like to describe myself. My dream in life is to visit, to get to know 50 countries before I'm 50 years old. So that's my goal. When I'm not working, I'm probably planning a trip or traveling. So you can imagine how I'm suffering right now, not being able to go outside. But that's who I am. That's a little bit about who I am. And here you can see in the pictures as well, my previous experiences at SAP, a new bank, and most recently at Uber. And since I've been working there, this is my most recent selection process. I would like to share with you what made me make this decision to join Uber, to choose the company, and also the problems that we are solving here, so you can understand a little bit more about us. So Uber is very well known about this ride-sharing product, right? And before joining Uber, probably was the only thing that I knew about the company was how huge the ride-sharing was and how well known the product is across the countries. So this was the first thing that got my attention, the ride-sharing product. And you can see that the numbers that we have for the ride-sharing is huge. We have more than 100 users, 15 billion trips so far in the with the product. So it's a huge and very important product that changed the way that we do even our economy nowadays, right? So this got my attention, but right now Uber is much more than just the ride sharing service. So we have our platform that works as a, I would say, as a tool for mobility, or every service of mobility that you may need and probably you need in the future. So right now in Latin America, mainly we have the rides, the eats services, but in our platform, we have other products as well. Outside here, we have a lot of investments in new technologies, even the self-driving car and this kind of initiatives. So Uber nowadays is much more than just the ride sharing product. So that is something that got my attention since we start talking and getting to know the company more during the process. Bringing a little bit more to Latin America. So Mexico City, and in Mexico was the first office that we got in Latin America in 2013. And it's currently our hub for Latin America. And being the hub, we have a lot of leaders there for the line of business that we have, the main line of business that we have. However, not only Mexico City, but also São Paulo and Rio de Janeiro are very important cities for the ride sharing product. They are the top 10 markets for the company globally. And São Paulo actually used to be the top 2. So it's a very important city for the company as well. We have more than 200 cities in Latin America. And one important and very nice data about Mexico and diversity is that we have there the pair ranking in gender equality, which is this just really, how can I say, is this certificate that we have that we value equality and gender diversity. But also in São Paulo, as you said, that I have, as you saw before, I have São Paulo in the map. So São Paulo, we have the Technology Center, and this is the only one in Latin America, and is one of the 13 that we have in the world. So this one is a hub for safety, and when it comes to safety, we are talking about saving lives and actually decreasing the number of incidents that we may have, increasing the perception of safety that our users may have of the platform. So what the team are building here, the technology that they are building here is actually changing the platform globally. So this is very nice to say, and I'm very proud to say that I part of a team that is actually saving lives, or I'm hiring people that will help to save lives in the future for our company. So this is a nice selling point in my opinion. We have engineering, product, and data science here in São Paulo, and this team is growing. Right now we have about 60 people, more or less, but the plan is to grow and to have more headcounts coming. We are currently hiring a lot for here, for software engineering positions, and also for data science, data analyst positions for São Paulo Tech Center. So this is a very nice opportunity to develop these technical skills here. About diversity in tech, we have this team that plans, design, and execute a lot of strategies for diversity in our team. So we have these eyes always looking for the best way to hire, to retain, to attract women in tech. So it's a continuous work that we have for tech team. And we also have the D&I pillar inside the TA team that also design the strategies for talent acquisition here in when it comes to diversity matters. So that's a little bit more about our tech center in our team in Latin America. So that's the overall what we are doing. I talked to you about diversity, about the tech diversity team, the D&I pillar, and diversity is one thing that is very important to Uber and very important to me as we talked before. So we have this commitment to increase diversity and to continue to increase diversity inside our company and to influence in a positive way for all of the diversity groups that we have here. And one way to do that is through our employee resources group. We have about 12, but in Latin America, we have this amount of ERGs. And this is a group of people that got together to plan, design, and also execute strategies for the employees, but also outside for people who want to join Uber in the future or to influence the community somehow. So that's what we have here. And I'm currently part of the ABLE one and also the Women at Uber. There are the two that I got more involved during this time. As I said, diversity is part of Uber culture, and this is our cultural norms as well. So this is how we think, how we design our strategy, and how we act inside Uber. And when I look in here and I saw so many things that are aligned with my values, I understand that I made the right decision to join the company, because this is a way that I think is the right way to make a decision to join or to accept an offer, is when your values and when you know yourself, when you know what you want, is aligned with what the company can offer. So when I saw all of this journey, this growth journey that Uber had, and all of this mindset to diversity, I understood that made sense. So this is what we are doing right now, the problems we are solving, and how we look to diversity. I also think that someone is going to post in the chat the links to get to know a little bit more about Uber. If don't, I can share later. But that's it for Uber. I would like to share with you a little bit more about the content that I want to share indeed. So the agenda is to talk about before applying, the moment of the application and what to do when you review your resume, the interview process, and the offer negotiation. So what to do before applying and to negotiating the offer. Many people think that the selection process starts when you apply to the position, but in my opinion, this starts much earlier, building some relationships and connecting with the right people. So that's what I'm going to share. But before sharing, very important to let you know that this is just a picture of my experience, of what I have seen in the market, what colleagues of mine have shared with me. There is no right or wrong when it comes to this selection process, or there is no magic recipe to go through a selection process and be approved. This is just my opinion, and this is just what I believe will make the difference, and what I have done as a candidate to be approved in the selection process that I went through. So just be aware that this is just a sample. You can continue your research and to learn much more, networking and building this relationship with other recruiters. So before applying, what I think you should do is, first of all, find your purpose. And this is what I was talking about, like getting to know Uber, the values, the diversity matters, in how they celebrate, in fact, differences. This was my journey, finding my purpose and how it matches with Uber right now. But before that, I was searching inside of myself as well, to understand what I like, what I dislike, what makes me want to go to work every day, to wake up every morning wanting to be there, to deliver something, to make an impact. So what I say to you is, first, try to do this research as well. Try to get to know yourself better. It's much easier to apply to a position and to go through a selection process when you know what you want. Probably, if don't, we are going to face a lot of rejections or a lot of processes until you get to this point. So this is my first advice. Secondly, build a relevant network. What is a relevant network? It's a network when you connect with people that can teach you something, you can teach something, can refer you to a job, can invite you to some nice events or some nice opportunities to learn something new. So it's people who can add something in your life, in your career, and not, I don't know, someone that can just be there, or someone that is not going to bring anything positive to you. So that's the relevant network. And I say that because, again, being honest, in my experience, every job opportunity, every position that I got in my career in the past year, 6 years, I would say, was because someone referred me. Because a colleague that worked with me knew someone that was hiring, it told them that they should consider me maybe for the position. So I went through the process. So this referral process is something that was achieved or successful for me because of this network that I built. So this is something that I do recommend you to do as well. List companies and people that you like to work for or to work with. Again, this is very aligned with the purpose. Would you see yourself working for a company that is not, I don't know, for me, that is not willing to bring something that is healthy, that is positive to the world, something that is bad, or is going to bring something that I won't be proud to say that I work for. That's not a company that I want to work for. So that's the list that I made for myself for when applying and considering positions. And that's my advice to you. And also connect with these people. Try to send a LinkedIn connection or to build relationships somehow with the people that you look up to, that you like to work with, so you can start building this relationship and this network. Also, my advice is to connect with other women in tech or any other diversity community like LGBTQ, sorry, or the Black community, or any other diversity that combines it and can be a way to help you to develop some skills or to introduce you to some people again. So this is a nice strategy in my opinion. Build your own women network, I would say, to support each other, to help each other, to learn with each other. This is a good strategy that helped me as well. Treat your LinkedIn as your business card. Nowadays, it's very common that you go to any event or someone that is going to refer you to a job position or anything like introduce you to someone. Probably this person is going to share your LinkedIn profile, or you are going to share your LinkedIn profile. Even in these events in the past when you could meet, there is this tool that you can find the people with your LinkedIn. So consider to have everything always updated with the right information in the right message that you want to pass through your network. So that's another advice. Join LinkedIn groups, and here I would say that you should add the groups, join the groups that are related to your job position or to your knowledge, the role that you have, but also, again, diversity. Women in tech, or any diversity groups that they may have on LinkedIn or any other social network, such as Facebook. They have also the groups that maybe you can join. And why I say it about the diversity is because being a recruiter, we also use LinkedIn groups to source for candidates. So when I'm proactively looking for a female talent, and I want to find, for instance, a female software developer, I would probably look inside the group Women in Tech to put in my search to see if there is any chance to find more women in my search. So again, that's a nice way to be found if you want to look for a new job opportunity. Share content with your network. So this could be just liking something, comment on something, or just sharing some content, resharing some content that you think is relevant, or creating something and actually sharing knowledge with the other, with the community. So this is a nice best practice, but requires discipline. I've been trying to post more, but I couldn't so far. So I do understand that this requires time and discipline. But it's a nice way to stand out. Very often I see some candidates that post and I receive notifications when they post something on LinkedIn, for instance. And I usually got my attention to go see the profile and go see what they are doing. And attend events like this, events in person, other meetups, or any kind of event that could be related to your position or to the diversity community could be a nice practice. And build relationship with the people in the events. I'm pretty sure that you are saying the names and you're seeing the names in the chat. Why not connect in LinkedIn with the people that are interacting with you in the chat, for instance, while this is a virtual event, or connect with me or Nancy or the team that is organizing. So this is a nice strategy as well while attending these virtual events. And a nice way to introduce yourself could be, hey there, I saw you in the event, or I like to connect because I saw you there. So this is a nice way to introduce yourself. What about the don'ts? So first of all, don't be a stalker. Seems kind of obvious, but this happened before. You need to find a way to communicate in the right way. Do not over communicate. Send so many messages to the people, to the person, like connect today and then tomorrow send a message, 2 days after send another message. This is too much. or you try to connect in LinkedIn and then in other social media, or I don't know, try to find the person in every any possible way. This is not the best practice. So I would say don't be the stalker. Maybe focus on LinkedIn, that is the professional network, to build this relationship. Don't over communicate, so don't be there, don't talk too much, don't share too much, and don't be inconvenient. That's kind of related. Do not collect connections. Why do I say that? It's related to the relevant network. So you probably don't want to accept anyone that is sending you invitations that you have never seen the person before, or is not related at all with your industry, with your role, or it's not some women in tech, for instance, that you could connect. So try to avoid accepting anyone so you can receive the right amount of information from your network as well. And an important thing, in my opinion here, the most important would be don't lie and don't create a character. Sometimes you try to post and to post inside social media or inside your events or even a LinkedIn relationship that you are someone that in fact this is not the true of who you are yourself. And I don't think this is sustainable. So for me, for example, my essence is to be an introvert person, and sharing something or going to meetups, for instance, or going to recruiting events usually stress me a little bit. I got anxious, I feel exhausted because this is not my essence. So it's very challenging for me. I just need to let them know. Imagine if I'll be hired to do something like this every day. Won't be myself. This won't be me. I won't be true to myself. So avoid doing that. Try to just share your goods, your experience, and not what you think people wants to hear from you. The application process. So imagine that you follow this tips and you build your relationship. You have the list of companies that you like, and this company posts a position that is very much aligned with what you're doing or what you want to do. So you decide to apply. So what you should do, and here's some do's and don'ts for that stage of the process. But first, did you know that a experienced recruiter takes 6 seconds to decide, usually 6 seconds to decide if they're going to invest time in your resume or not. So it's called 6 seconds scan, and this is the amount of time that usually we look very quickly to the resume, and then we decide I will look more or I will just reject the person. So some people waste more time, some invest more time, some people is this amount of time. This is a research that I found. But for me, it's like this. Usually I look very quickly for something that is going to get my attention, and if the person is going to work moving forward or not. Because this is just the first stage of the process, probably I'm going to learn more about the person in the interviews, during the conversations. So I just need to have this overall information and something that is going to get my attention. So what I think you should do to get the attention of the recruiter and the hiring manager is first share achievements instead of duties. So meaning that you should not describe every single activity that you have in your career or in your role. You should try to describe your responsibilities with your achievements. So what you're doing, the impact of your job. I don't want to know what a salesperson do. I want to know the results of the salesperson for this company. Every time that you share something like this, it's very nice as well to add some numbers, some results to the conversation. Like if you are, a buyer or something like this, you can say, I built this project, or I changed this process, and I was able to give this amount of money that was saved, or I sell this through this, and I increase the revenue in 10% year over year, for instance. Just giving more data of what you have done, so you can share the impact of your job, not just a list of activities. Always use reverse chronological order, meaning that the most recent goes first. This is pretty basic, but people still doing this, putting first the first job that they have and then moving to the last one. And this is not a good way to introduce yourself. Recently, last week, I guess, I was reviewing a resume and I was in this, just checking there is anything that worth continuous evaluating. And the person had the experience from 2000 something, like 2010, I guess, or 2000. And I was like, oh, this person did not work since 2000, like it's a long period of time. And then I was about to reject the person because it wasn't a match. And because I didn't understand, wasn't clear for me why the person wasn't working until now. And then I scroll a little bit and I saw that the whole a bunch of experience was described later. So it was just a bad, really, really bad resume. So be aware of that. And this is for the education as well. Try to put the most recent first and then the last ones. The first ones in the bottom. Add awards and competition experience. This is something that is very, again, personal. And this is a difference that I see in a male and a female resume. When I was working for sales in the tech industry, I was very used to see the numbers like, oh, I overachieved this amount, or I received this award because I was the best seller, or something like this. And very often men do that and women didn't. So I was, usually they got my attention when I see the numbers, when I see the awards. So my advice to you would say, don't be afraid or shy to share your achievements, that you did a good job, or that you were recognized for this good job, because this is a way to stand out. And also, if you have any competition experience, competition meaning the math from school, like from coding competition, hackathons, or math competition, something like this, add there as well, because can tell how you interact with colleagues, the teamwork, and how can you solve problems. This is a nice way to tell your story as well and got our attention. Add relevant links. So LinkedIn should be there. If you are a designer or someone that works with a portfolio, you should put your link there. GitHub for technical people, always put in there. We want to know. And recruiters know how to review GitHub as well. So this is a nice way to stand out in the first conversation. If you post a blog, or if you write something that is interest, or something about the business, about any topic that would be relevant for us to know more about yourself, also putting there, and preferably putting the top, so it can be one of the first things that we see about you. Treat your summary as your teaser. So not everybody adds summary in the resumes, and this is fine in my opinion, but in your LinkedIn, I think you should add there. And you should think that your summary is the teaser of your resume, of your experience. So try to put some information about your career, but not like a long test, or something that is more complete than your resume. I would add, I don't know, what you're doing, what you have done, what you love, and what you're looking for. Something like very objective and very clear. And this should be right in first person, like I am this, or I like that. This is a nice way to do it. Share tech knowledge level. So do you know any coding, programming language? Do you know any architecture, or anything that could be related to the technology that you need? And also describe the technology in the position itself. It's a nice practice. Or put somewhere in the resume that could be clear, or a nice way to find. I would say in the top as well, or in a way that we can find easily this information. Also certifications, if you have for some positions, it could be very useful to know if a person has this kind of certifications and this kind of information. And the last one is keep it simple. For me, the most clean it is, the way that I can read it, sometimes I get confused because people put a lot of colors or very different ways to organize the resume. So it takes me a lot of time to understand what is going on. So my opinion is to keep it simple. But again, there is no perfect resume. If you Google it, you'll find thousands of examples. So just find a way that you can share and try to stand out in this first seconds of evaluation. And don't add personal information. And here's like date of birth, address. If you have children, if you don't, how many children? People used to do that, and I don't think this is a good practice because it can bring bias to the evaluation. People have bias, and sometimes it can happen. People can disqualify you based on this. And this is not relevant at all to the selection process, in my opinion. So don't add there. Do not write a book. And here is like, again, keep it simple, like 2 pages. 1 page, 2 pages would be my advice. Once I receive a resume with 12 pages, I don't even spend 10 seconds sometimes to review. Imagine reading 12 pages. This is not something that got attention of anyone. This is something that you should tell in your interview. You should just give us some, give us the interest to talk to you, to get to know you better. Do not write a book in there. Do not list soft skills. And here's very important again. If you put in there that you are a hard worker, doesn't tell me much about you. This is just how you describe yourself. And actually, the laziest person in the world could put that is a hard worker in the resume and will tell me nothing, because what I'm looking for is to see the results, and the results is going to tell me that you have these skills, or the interview that I'm going to meet you later is going to tell me that you have these skills. So don't do that. Don't list courses that you have done last decade. And this is like, just adjust your resume to the position. So if this is relevant to the position, then it's fine. If don't, just don't add it to the resume. This is just going to bring information that is not relevant at all. And common sense as well, like Microsoft Word. This is not something that is going to make you stand out, and probably people take for granted that you know how to use it nowadays in the tech industry, at least. Don't send the same resume for every job position, and this is also a common mistake. Very often, the person add the resume in the company website, in the ATS that we have, and sometimes the person add like, the goal is to have this position, or describe the positions to a specific role, and then applying with the same resume to a completely different role. This always gives me the wrong image. So always pay attention to the positions that we're applying to. If you're applying with the right resume, and if you are bringing the relevant information to the position. I would say that you should always review and put first in the description of your activities and your achievements, what is the most relevant to the job itself. So if this is a leadership role and you are not a leader yet, you want to become a leader, for instance, but you have some leadership experience, you have led a project, or you have led, I don't know, some people, some interns, for instance, you are in this development journey, you should put first to get their attention that you have some leadership skills, that you have some leadership experiences. That would be my advice. And also, an important way to be found by recruiters is to not describe your job title in a male word. In Portuguese and Spanish, we have the A in the end of the word to describe a female word, right? So we have desenvolvedora, desarrolladora, and then we can know that this is a female person or a person that that describe herself as in a female gender. So this is how we also find people when looking for on LinkedIn. When we are looking for a female, we also look for the job title in the female version. So try to do that. I'm currently sourcing for women in software engineering positions, and I found many women that add their job titles in a male word, and I was like, doesn't make any sense for me, because in English is more easy because we have the gender neutral communication, right? But in Portuguese and Spanish, this is not. So if you want to be found to be considered for the positions by a recruiter in a sourcing strategy, when looking for someone, try to do that in your LinkedIn at least. And don't forget to double check for typos. It's very common. It happens mainly if this is other language like English for me, then my language is Portuguese. So it can happen. So ask for help, review more often, and try to do something that is going to make it clean, to do not have mistakes. So this is something that can get our attention for the bad way as well. Here I add some, just one example on how you can edit your resume for the application process, depending on the level of your career. So I would say, and this is also very common in the internet, I found out there, these examples, but this is for experienced professionals, I do expect to see first experience. So this is the most relevant for me, and the most recent first. And for students and recent graduates, I do expect to see the education, so the schools, maybe some awards and experience with internship or researches. So this is usually how you can edit your resume to this kind of profiles. Here's another tip that for me is a very nice way to stand out and usually got my attention as a recruiter. So a follow-up message is a way to send a message to the recruiter or to the hiring manager or a colleague, someone that is connected somehow with this role and with this company, to let them know that you have applied. The message could be like, hey, person, I saw that your company has this position open. I just applied. I'm looking forward to have an interview, or I'm looking forward to be considered, or something like this. This is just a way to make people know that you have done this. And very often, what I do when I receive this kind of message is to reveal the profile of the person on LinkedIn, so I can have an idea if it makes sense to move forward, and probably I'll move forward with the person if it makes sense through the ATS, the system. So that's another tip. I was going to say something, I just forgot, but then I'll remember, let you know. Next one is the interviews. So here again, every company has their own system, their own process, but I would say that at least you're going to face one conversation with the recruiter, one conversation with the hiring manager, and probably one technical evaluation, or more. So depending on the company. So be prepared for at least 2 to 3 conversations minimum. So that's what I see, and what I think you should do to be more assertive in this process is first to be prepared. And this is how I pass in interviews, and how I think my candidates succeed in the process is when they are actually committed and prepared for the interview. Being prepared also calm down the person, makes the person more relaxed during the interviews, because they know the answers, they are prepared to tell the story. So just do something that will help you to feel more prepared. And how to do that is like, first, learn how to describe your career in 5 minutes. Why I say that is because usually the first thing that someone is going to ask you is, tell me more about yourself, or tell me about your experience. And you should give an overview that has the right information, but is not too much. And then the recruiter or the hiring manager is going to be able to go deep into this in what is important for the role. So try to do that. What is the highlight of your career? What do you want to be recognized for? And then share with them in more or less 5 minutes. Have some examples in mind. This is very important as well, and this is a nice way to be prepared, because there is this technique that is an interview that is based in previous experience I'm going to share with you later. But what we want to hear is some examples of what you have done in the past. And usually these are related to the job itself or to the company behaviors or what is important for the company. So if you are a leader or if you are someone that is looking for a leadership role, probably you're going to be asked for a leadership example, something that happened related to leadership. Or if you are a software developer, probably they're going to ask you for a project that was impactful or was challenging for you. So you can think what is important for your role, and probably they're going to ask for. So try to for me works writing down, but for you can be, I don't know, anything that works for you to remember and to be more prepared with the examples. Usually when I go through interviews, I write every word that I'm saying, that I'm planning to say, and I have many papers during the interviews. Sometimes if this is remote, I have my papers in like by my side, so I can just take a look of what I should say or not say of my experience. And this is only based in what you have done. Not lying, of course, but just being more prepared. Invest the right time in study for the take-home test or the technical interviews. This is all about preparation and also to feel more confident and practice with the tools that they will have for the interview. Research about the company. This seems very obvious as well, but this is a nice way to stand out actually. Being honest, last week, I guess, or 2 weeks ago, I interviewed a lot of people, a lot of candidates for one position, and I cannot remember all of them, be honest, but there is this person that when I asked her, what do you know about us? She gave me a lot of information about us, and just got my attention because she was different. She was prepared, so I can tell that she was interested as well in the position. So this tells a lot about you. So do your research, get to know more about the company and about the problems that they are solving. I also like to try to explain your achievements, your challenges, anything that happened during your experience in a positive way. Sometimes something bad can happen or the results are not what we expect. But if you tell the story in a way that this was bad, but I learned something through this, the message that you are saying is much more positive than if you just said what went wrong and that you are very upset and something bad happened. So it's just the way you tell the story that is going to engage and, I don't know, give a better image of what you're saying. So here is an ad. Also, I got my attention when people know how to tell a story in a positive way, even though it's not a good story or not a good result. Ask relevant questions. We love people that ask questions. This is something that is just as many as you have is the better. And be friendly. Just smile, be polite, take the time to listen to the person and be friendly during your interview. This is okay to be nervous. This is part of the game. Everybody get nervous in the interviews. I got terrified in the interviews, even though I do it like for my job. So this is okay. So just try to be friendly. If you're nervous, tell the person, like, I'm a bit nervous. Let me just think about this, or I think about the answer. This is a nice way to be polite as well. And about the don'ts, don't be arrogant. If you could be the best talent person, professional in the world, but if you are this person, this arrogant person, no one is going to want to work with you. No one's to work with a jerk. So this is just it. Don't be late and don't apologize. Something could happen, like something happens. This is okay. Just remember to apologize and to say what happened and just, or maybe try to reschedule or something like this. Just appreciate the time of the person and the person has dedicated to the interview. Do not over communicate. This is, again, don't forget to listen. Very often, I got some candidates that they cut me while I'm asking the question, or I'm trying to ask a question and do not stop talking. So remember to listen to the questions, to understand the questions. If you do not understand the questions, do not answer without understanding. Ask for clarification, and try to communicate in a balanced way, not too much, not less than what you need to make your point. Do not go to the interview without knowing what is this interview about, who is the interviewer, what you should expect from this interview. This is a way to be prepared as well for the interview. If you know if they're going to ask some technical questions or just behavioral questions, or if your interviewer is your hiring manager or a peer, you're going to be more prepared to the process itself, to the questions that you may ask, and how this connection can go. So this is another tip. And the last one is don't go home with questions. This is also a decision of yours, so you need to make your decision. So ask as many questions as you can and as you need to clarify for the position, for the company, so you can make the right decision as well. And here, as I said before, the most common types of interviews. So you have the behavioral ones, the hypothetical ones, and the technical or coding ones. So when someone asks you a question with asking for the example, so describe a situation when, give an example of, tell me about a time when this happened. What we want to hear is something, one example, something that happened before, and to understand how do you handle the situation. Because what we understand is that past behavior, past experience can predict future experience. So this is usually how it works. So try to respond with the STAR method, that is, explain the situation, describe the task that you decide to do, how you did it, and the results that you have. Always keep in mind the whole process. The hypothetical questions, they are trying to understand, to look for the future and to understand how you would react in something in the future. So probably what do you do if you have something, or imagine if this happened, what would you react? How would you react to the situation? So they are trying to understand, to put you in a situation, and usually is a pivot to the company reaction. So you are telling your story, you are tell us something, and then they want to see how would you react in the scenario of the company. So they pivot and ask you this kind of questions. Try to understand, try to answer with in a very specific way, describing the way you do to solve the problem. And this is also very, very related to the company. So the company reality, to the role. So researching about the company, probably are going to answer better this kind of questions. And about the technical, the coding interviews, this is basically to be more prepared and to practice. So if you don't feel prepared for this, if do not have this kind of experience, ask for the recruiter to do a mock interview, or ask your friends to help with something, or use coding websites like Code Signal, HackerHank to train that. So this is a nice way to get more prepared as well. Thank you message, again, is a nice way to stand out. After the interview, try to send a message that just say how much you appreciate the time, or that you enjoyed the conversation, or something like this. Do not, again, over communicate. Just one sentence to say that you like it and that you're looking forward for the next one, or to the offer, or something like this. Again, this is a nice way to stand out. It shows interest in the position and in the person. And the last one, offer negotiation. And here is I'm going to share with you some tips, because as I shared before with some friends as well, it's not that common that women negotiate offers, right? And here says that 60% do not negotiate offers. So for me, and in my experience, I only started negotiating offers in my previous experiences, because I didn't know my value. I didn't know how much I could be valued to the company, how much I could deliver, or how much I should ask for. So I think this takes practice. And here is some tips, but again, probably when I try it the first time, I didn't know all of this. I would probably do differently when I try again, when I negotiate for my third, fourth offer. So first of all, know your value. This is something important. And knowing your value is understanding what you have done, what you have delivered, what was the impact of the job for the company. I don't know, if you are, again, if you are a recruiter, how much impact did you have for the company? How much hires did you make? The projects and the diversity aspect that you have engaged. If you're a salesperson, how much have you bring money to the company or new clients to the company? So understand the impact of your job and try to understand your value. But be conscious about the industry as well. Glassdoor is a nice tool to research for, compare salaries, so you can understand if what you're asking or you're thinking to ask is aligned with the market. This is very important. Make sure you understand every detail in the offer. This is very important as well. This is not that common that women ask me, or at least in my experience, more details about RSUs or the benefits or how they can accelerate the bonus, the variable. This kind of information, usually I'm not that fast as I should be, in my opinion. So try to understand the whole package, every detail of the offer. Your offer is not only your base salary, your monthly salary, probably something more. So try to understand that. And ask the recruiter for all of the information that you may need, or the hiring manager. Ask for trade-offs. And here's, again, something of my experience. I never got, while I'm negotiating, what I want in my offers, but I also got something. So when I say I got something, I negotiate something else. So you can try, I don't know, maybe it's not the base salary that is going to increase, but maybe you could have stock options or RSUs, or maybe a sign-on bonus to join the company. Or even, as I told you, I do like to travel. So vacation days is something important to me. So I negotiate in my past experience vacation days as well, because this is important. So you need to understand what is important to you, so you can ask for this kind of trade-offs. Remember, your compensation is not only your base salary. Be confident, polite, but to be confident, you need to be prepared again. So to be prepared for this kind of conversations, I would say that is listing what could be a nice argument for your selling points or for your speech with the recruiter or the hiring manager. So for instance, you have done this amount of sales last year, so I have bring this amount of customers to the company. I'm pretty sure I can bring this amount of customers to your company. That's why I'm asking for more, because I value more. Or I have built these projects, or I have built this kind of technology, and in my previous experience, I'm pretty sure I can bring that for your company. So list what is your, I don't know, how do you stand out in your experience? So probably this is a nice pitch to try to get the amount of money, and not being prepared could give you this anxiety during these conversations. And this is like a very anxious moment for anyone, for the recruiter, for the hiring manager, and meaning for you as a candidate. Negotiating, when I'm going to negotiate, I almost pass out because I'm super nervous. I don't feel, during the conversation, probably my voice is like shaking or something like this, because I do feel nervous. So if you try to be as prepared as you can, probably this is going to be easier. And again, ask for as much time as you need. Ask what you need for the recruiter. Not always you're going to have the time that you want to think. Every company is different. But sometimes you can have some days to think, to do the math, and to make your decision. this is your decision as well. It's not only the company. So do take your time to understand the offer, to be prepared for the conversation, to negotiate if needed, and to make the final decision. That's it, I guess, for the do's. And for the don'ts, first, don't be afraid to do that or to lose your offer. This is not going to happen. A big tech company or a nice company would not take the offer back because you are negotiating. This would not be the reason. So if you know your value and you are not comfortable with the offer, do that. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to say how much money you make, because usually the company based the compensation in the selection process, in the peers, in the market. There is a lot of things that could decide the offer. So it is okay to say how much money you make, because you should focus in your salary expectation as well. Sometimes you are not paid the way you should be paying. Sometimes you are just receiving an amount that is much less than your value. So what you should do, actually, do not give a range when you are saying about your salary expectations. Like, I want from this to this. Do not do that. Just have in mind the ideal number is the real number. The ideal number is like your moonshot. What you like to receive would be my dream if I could make this amount of money. Probably I'm not going to receive this amount of money, but this is the ideal number for you. The real number is your value. The real number is what the market is paying, what you should be paying, and how much based on your level of experience or your deliverables is so far worth. So the real number is what probably should be paid for, and the ideal number is your dream, your goal in your career. So focus on that. Do not focus your negotiation in personal reasons. So I went, and I did it in the past, again, being honest with you. So this was a mistake that I'm telling you to not do that. Do not say that you need more money because of your family, or because you want to travel more, or because you want to live for yourself, then you need more money, or something that is too personal. Base your negotiation, it's my opinion again, on your achievements, on what you have done and what you can do for the company. That's a good selling point and a good way to sell your speech, to negotiate. And do not accept the offer without understanding it, without understanding, again, what is the base, what is the variable, what is the benefits that you can have. Try to have the big picture and ask the questions for the recruiter or the hiring manager or the person who are dealing with you. Always understand it and then accept the offer. That'll be the don'ts. I put in here a bonus, like, what if you're not approved? Because it can happen, right? Sometimes you put a lot of effort, you get prepared, you do whatever you should do to be there and to be approved, but didn't happen. So what I'll say that you should do is, first, to ask for feedback. Ask the recruiter why it was a no, what happened, if she can or he can share with you the feedback. Very often that is not common for companies to share feedback with every candidate. This is something different here at Uber that I'm very happy to see and proud to do, is that every candidate that go through the on-site interview, that is like the final interview, receive a very open feedback and can have as many time as they need with the recruiter. So some companies could do that. So ask for, build a relationship with the recruiter and the interview team. Again, why do I say that? Is because very often people who are rejected in selection process could try again and be approved in another process. And this happened because they continue the relationship or with the hiring manager or with the recruiter, or even in my case, I changed companies in the past. Last year I worked for 2 companies, and this year I'm working for another one. So 2 years, more or less, 3 companies. And I have candidates that followed me since SAP. So, and I have one candidate right now that I'm in contact that I met him at Nubank. he wasn't approved there. So, but I know that he's a nice candidate, so I'm trying again. So this is a nice way to stand out, to build relationships. Send an email once in a while, like, do you have any positions? I'm looking for this, or I don't know. Do you have any referral to me? Recently, another candidate asked me for a career advice. He built relationship with me, so he asking for some guidance. So do that. I'm pretty sure a lot of recruiters will be happy to help you. Apply again, and stay confident. I know that receiving a no is not a nice thing, and you can be devastated, or you can be very sad, or I don't know, just frustrated or angry. But the most important is to not lose your confidence, because you learn something. Every selection process teaches something. You learn how to be more prepared. You learn how to sell yourself, how to go through an interview process, or I don't know, anything that happened during these interviews was not like a waste of time. This was a time investing in your development. So think like this. The result is not always, I don't know, the what you should focus in the development process and the relationship and the experience, and how you can be more prepared for the future could be the focus. So try again. If this is a no now, you can try again in the future. So to wrap up my final tips, just an overview of what we have said. So find your purpose, get to know yourself, understand what makes you wake up every day and what is important to you in your career in a company. Build strong and relevant relationships with recruiters, with hiring managers, with the community, with other women in tech, with any other diversity group that could be relevant. We do ask for referrals very often. So build these relationships. Be confident and speak up. As I said in the beginning, very often I had to position myself, like to let them know that I need something, or to tell what I need. And I learned that this is very important. So do it as well. Tell during the process in your relationships what you need, speak up, and also don't lose your confidence. So be confident. Be prepared in your interviews. This is just about being prepared, and the experience going through selection processes. And know your value, because this is how you're going to feel more confident while negotiating. And remember that it's not a bad thing to negotiate or to be confident or to know your value somehow. In my opinion, top performers are the ones that can do that very well. And it's also okay if you don't feel like you have all of this, or you know how to achieve all of this right now. The most important thing I believe is to understand what you need to develop, or what is important to you, and ask for help, ask for mentorship, ask for coaching, ask for Latinas in tech support. I don't know, ask for someone to connect with you and to help you in the journey. So you'll feel every day, every year, every interview process more of this. So overall, that's my do's and don'ts for the selection process. Again, this is only based in my experience as a candidate and as a recruiter. I'm pretty sure there is much more that we can share and keep connecting. Just to remember you, we are hiring at Uber. We have many positions, and here you can see the Latin open roles. If you are interested to look for Mexico and Brazil positions. And in here you have my contacts. If you can feel free to connect with me as well. I'll be happy to connect. And I'm happy to answer questions if you do have them. I'm not seeing the chat.
Thank you so much, Cher. I can help you by reading some good questions that we have here from the audience. So I'm gonna tell them, and then you can answer them if you may.
Okay.
So we have this very good question from Cecilia Velasquez. What do recruiters think at this very moment about hiring people from another country and doing relocation? And what about hiring fully remote workers?
It all will depend on the company. There is many companies that are hiring fully remote. depending on the position and the company. So you can go through a selection process and be approved to work fully remote. Usually the companies that have this kind of possibilities they describe in the description or the website somehow, so you can find this is happening. Hiring for different countries right now could be a bit challenging because of the COVID stuff. What I have heard is that if the person is not in the countries, it's more challenging because of the visa and everything that is required. And to start working in the company, for instance, in Brazil, you must have the visa and you must be here. So probably will delay the process, but you need to understand with the recruiter or the company if this is a possibility. There is many companies that hire from other countries during the normal situation, but not right now. I would say that would be probably a bit challenging. At Uber, for instance, we have to review every application to see if this is possible or not possible. So if you want to, you can try to apply, and that will be my advice. Apply and try at least to talk to the recruiter and let them know what you want. If you want to do fully remote or if you want to go to travel to the country, to move to the country. That would be the only way to know if this is possible.
Thanks so much for the answer. So we have another question from Nancy P. Many recruiters or LinkedIn users get message requests to connect, particularly now that there are many unemployed people. What do you think is the best approach to reach out to a recruiter and get a response back?
It depends. Usually to connect, I would say you should send a message while sending the invitation. So you can stand out once again, because usually people just send the connection without saying anything. So you can send the connection and say like, hey, looking forward to connect, or I really like your company, looking forward to learn more from the company, or something like this. And after the person accepting your invitation, you can send a message as well. Do not over communicate, but you can send a message introducing yourself, letting them know that you have applied or you are interested in the position or building relationship or something like this. I try myself, for instance, I try to reply as much as possible, but we do receive a lot of messages. So if you send a message that is a nice message or something that is connected with the company, with the person, the chance that you got a response is higher, in my opinion. So I'll say that this is two ways to do it. When sending the connection, send a message, and after accepting the invitation, you can send another message with the goal to be part of the selection process or something like this.
Great, thanks so much for your answer. We have another question from an anonymous attendee. So what is the best advice you can give to someone that has social anxiety and is not fond of networking? How can it affect the recruiting process?
This is a challenge to connect when you have you have to have this kind of connections, for instance, events or something like this. So I would say that you should avoid this kind of network opportunities, like going to an event or doing something in person that could be more challenging to you. But you can try to do something like virtually, or try with a few people that you think will work better, having this connection, like the person, the manager of the role, or someone from the company that you like to work with, or the recruiter. So building few but stronger relationships, or people from the community, from the women in tech community. You can you don't need to talk too much or to interact too much. You just need to be assertive and with some period of time to share something with the person, to ask a question or to comment something. So I would say you don't need, if you're not comfortable don't need to this kind of events. Try to interact more virtually if you feel better, and with the people that really work or make sense to you. Maybe will help you somehow. And I think that's it. It's not, I don't think anyone need to suffer or to do something that is not comfortable, because I feel like probably the results is going to be the opposite of they want you, because they are too nervous or not able to engage or to connect. Yeah, so I would say try to do what is possible for you with the tools that you have.
Great. Thanks so much for your answer. We have another question, a very good question from Alexandra Gomez. Do you have any tips on how to craft a resume when switching careers? I'm currently in a non-technical job, but want to become technical and find technical job roles.
This is very challenging, how to get the attention of the person who is evaluating the resume when you don't have that much experience. So I would say that you should adjust your resume with the things that are related to this new career. So if you want to become technical person, have you done any courses? Have you practiced even at home, or these competitions, or anything that you have delivered? There is technical stuff that you could add there, that you have experience doing this. Yeah, I would say try to change your resume somehow to show that you have studied what is required. You have some practice, even though it's not in a company, in a big company, it's like in a personal project. This is an experience that you can share, that you are learning during this process. And try to show in your resume what is, even though it's not the same position, could be related, like a project management, or anything that could be near, I don't know, closer to the job description of this new technical role. And here, I would say that probably the resume is something that is not sure if only the resume is going to get the attention that is required. I would say that probably you should connect with the people in the companies that you want to work with, letting them know that you have applied because you are changing your career, you're moving to another career, letting them know something about you so you can get their attention. Probably because if this is like too many resumes that we receive and the person doesn't have that much experience, probably is not get the attention that is required. So I would say build these connections and let them know that you are doing this. So probably this is a way to stand out and to get their attention, and let them know that even though you don't have that experience in the industry, you are learning, you are decided to make the move, and you have other skills that you learned in the previous jobs that can help in this new adventure. So yeah, probably this, I would say.
Great, thank you. So we have another question from Mariana Gomez. Is the salary not, or should we respond to that question, or how to manage that?
Sorry, what was the question at the beginning?
Oh, yes. So in the first calls, normally recruiters always ask the salary range. So then, should we not respond to that question, or how do we manage the salary expectations question?
You should always respond that question when you're asked. If you're not asked, this is fine. You don't need to share. But if you are asked in the first conversation, you can share. My advice would be you can share your current salary with the whole package that you have if they ask for. If don't, you should just answer the question that they are doing, like, or your current salary or your salary expectation. And in my opinion, your range, if they ask, should be your ideal number. So the number that you want I don't know, 1,000, and then your real number is the amount of money that you accept to make the move, no less than that. The money that you should be making, that you want to make this move. So your range is the minimum, that is the real number, the money that you should be receiving. And this could be like your salary expectation, 30% more or something like this, if this is related to the market. And the top, or you should make clear that your ideal number is the other one, that is the highest one. But be aware that probably the ideal number is not that achievable as the real number. So that would be my advice. Always reply when asked during the process. Could be in the beginning, could be in the middle, or in the end, depending on the process. But you should ask, because this is sometimes is important. Sometimes the company doesn't have that much money to offer, so you could be too expensive for them. So it doesn't make sense to continue the process because of this. So that would be my advice.
Thanks for your answer. We have another question from Airam Liscano. I currently work at a tech company, very diversity and inclusion focused, but I'm looking for other work opportunities outside, and I wonder when and how is a good time to ask the recruiter or hiring manager about the company D&I policies.
I would say in the first contact, you should ask. If this is something important for you, you should have in your first conversation. I have many candidates right now that I'm talking for this, female candidates for the software engineer position. And sometimes I got interviewed more than I interviewed the person, because they have a lot of questions about diversity. And I think this is awesome. I love to hear these kind of questions. Because shows that they have this purpose, they have this connection with what is important for us as well. So I would say ask in the beginning, because if this is something important and the company doesn't care or doesn't have any effort for this, probably doesn't worth going through the selection process. So try to get to know better since the first contact.
Great, thanks. We have another question from Nicole Davila. How long after graduation is still considered a recent graduate?
It depends, again, of the time of experience. We know that in Latin America, it's very common for us to work while we are studying. So sometimes when the end of your graduation, you are already a very experienced professional. So you should consider like the amount of time that you have with a working experience to consider yourself an experienced professional and not a recent grad. But probably 2 years after maximum is recent grad, in my opinion. But if you have more experience, you have been working since the beginning of your college, for instance, your university, and you have, I don't know, 4 years of experience already, 3 years of experience, sometimes you can consider yourself an experienced professional. I think, yeah.
All right, thanks for the answer. We have a question from Edward Cruz. D&I is a strong focus today. How do recruiters help hiring managers make hiring decisions with D&I top of mind?
This is always a challenge in every conversation, every hiring process. What I used to do, and what I think we used to do with hiring process in the tech companies, at least that I've been working with, is talk about diversity since the first contact, since like open the position and talking about the position. So since the first contact, I try to talk about diversity and about diversity even in the market, like how many women we have for this kind of role in the market. So we should keep an eye that this is possible, this is not possible, how much effort we should have, for instance, to hire more women in this role. I also try to have these conversations about bias and how we should be aware of this during the process. Again, this happens. Everybody has bias. I have bias, and we should just be aware of our unconscious bias, so this will not affect the selection process. So this is another important conversation. So usually I would say that this should be an ongoing conversation, but mainly in the beginning of when you open the position, diversity should be in the agenda since the first call, since the first meeting. In every meeting should be, at least with me, diversity is one of the topics of all selection processes that I go through. So mainly women in tech. So this is the moment that the main challenge that we have right now in the industry. So every meeting that I have, or every selection process that I have with the hiring manager, I used to present how the pipeline is, or how our process is going. And one section of our conversation is always diversity. So this is usually how we work with the selection process, and always trying to provide feedback to the hiring manager, to the interviewers, trying to understand what can be improved in the selection process so we can provide the best experience as well for the diverse candidate. I'm lucky to say that I have worked with very open hiring managers to the feedback, to the diversity conversations. And right now we have a very committed leaders in tech here with the diversity topic. So we talk with them for a while, we share some data, we did some work, some projects, and now we are on board, we are in the same page, and diversity is always in the agenda. So usually it's this that I am used to do, and I think my colleagues also used to do.
Thanks so much. And I think we have just time for a very, very short last question. So let me see. What would you think of someone that is applying for a job with a lower salary than the one they currently have at the moment, or how to address this?
It also could happen. I think you just need to let them know why are you willing to make this downgrade or this move to receive less than you are making right now. If you are prepared to deal with that, if you have a long-term plan or mid-term plan for this amount of money that we can offer, I think you need to be transparent. Like, I want to receive less because I really want the position, or I want to receive less because I'm making this career move. And I do understand that I'm going to receive less because of the role, and this is going to take time to receive more, or something like this. Just share that you know that you are not going to go to the company, work for maybe 2-3 months, and expect to have the same salary that you had before. Usually this is the concern of the hiring managers when considering someone, or recruiters when considering someone that have higher salaries, is that they will want you have the same amount the sooner that they can. And sometimes some companies cannot have this increase in the salary that often, or that huge. So if you are open and transparent, saying that you are doing this and you are aware of this, and you do not expect to change it so soon, or at least before what is the plan of the company, I do believe is more the probability that you'll be considered is higher, but also depends on the company culture. But I would say that you should try this strategy. Share how much you make, but also share that you are aware that this role pays less and you want it. You are willing to receive this for the period of time that they think is the right one, like a year to be promoted or something like this. I think that would be my advice.
All right, so thank you so much for everything. That was the last question. We ran out of time. We have some other questions that we will let you know about them. And if you guys have some other questions left, please email us. There were questions regarding how to register or become a Latina in tech. You can join through our website, latinasintech.org, and through all of our social media, Facebook, LinkedIn. And yes, thank you so much, Cher. This was very, very helpful, very useful, very great tips. And thank you everyone for participating and for your time.
Thank you. And if you have any questions as well, feel free to send me an email or connect on LinkedIn. I'm open to clarify and to help you in this journey. Thank you.
Will do. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Bye-bye.